Should I learn Tailwind CSS in 2024? Please listen carefully because this video is filled with a lot of information. To answer that question, let's first define Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS is a CSS framework packed with classes that can be composed to build any design directly in your HTML file. Here's an example. In the HTML file, our element will have a color shade of orange with an opacity of 600. The text will be centered horizontally and will have a margin top of 6 rem, font size of 1.5 rem, and a line height of 2 rem. If you don't understand any of these classes, you must look into the Tailwind CSS docs. But if you are lazy like me, use this extension. It shows you the traditional CSS styles by hovering over the classes. This extension also provides advanced features for Tailwind CSS such as autocomplete, syntax highlighting, and more. So make sure to download it when using Tailwind in your VS Code. Now let's talk about some advantages of Tailwind CSS. Tailwind is popular among developers for its consistency, the ability to speed up the development process by writing less code, and you don't need to create a second file for styling. But the most important advantage is that you get rid of the painful process of naming CSS classes. And also, the Tailwind documentations are the easiest docs I've ever read. It has one of the best explanations for beginners and masters. Tailwind also provides a set of classes that are so easy and straightforward since each Tailwind class maps to a CSS property. When it comes to performance, Tailwind CSS focuses on producing the smallest CSS file possible by only generating the CSS you're actually using in your project, but it doesn't remove unused classes. That's why Tailwind recommends in its docs to use a tool called Purge CSS, which is a powerful tool used to remove unused CSS from your project. What we heard so far shows clearly the power of Tailwind CSS. But as Steve Jobs says, there is a downside to everything. So let me convert you into a hater in seconds. What I hate the most about Tailwind CSS is the ugly code. As you add more classes to your markup, the HTML code becomes increasingly ugly, unmaintainable, and difficult to read. And what annoys me more is the large file size. Since Tailwind CSS generates thousands of utility classes, the development build of Tailwind CSS is 3,645 kilobytes. But as my mother says, there is a simple solution for every major problem. So by using data compression programs like gzip and Brotli, the development build of Tailwind CSS will go from 3,645 kilobytes uncompressed to 294 kilobytes minified and compressed with gzip, and 72 kilobytes when compressed with Brotli. So far we've seen what is Tailwind CSS, and what are some of its benefits and downsides. Now the real question is, should I learn Tailwind CSS in 2024? From my point of view, I say yes. Taking Tailwind as a skill to learn would be a great investment in yourself, but in the end, it's up to you to choose what you learn and what you're comfortable with. For me, I just gave you some information that will guide you choose the right tool. Just a tip: if you're willing to learn Tailwind CSS, I recommend learning CSS first, because it will help you learn Tailwind faster. And remember, we must always invest in ourselves.